All right, guys, thanks for tuning in again to Cold Pizza Watch Reviews. Today we're talking Citizen divers, specifically the NY00 family, and why I think these are way better than the SKX, especially in today's market for the prices that the SKX is going for. But even prior to Seiko canceling the SKX, I still think these are killer watches. And the last one I'm going to talk about, I guarantee you cannot argue that it is not better than an SKX, and it's a Citizen automatic diver. So hang in there with me. We're going to start with the NY0086 -83. This is the Pepsi dial. So this is, just to give you the general specs, most of these specs apply to all of the NY00 Citizen line. They're 42 millimeter. They're just slightly below 42 millimeters, so they're a little bit smaller than an SKX. They're 12 millimeters thick, 48 millimeters lug to lug, so they wear a little bit smaller than an SKX, which, you know, if you've seen my other videos, I've got small wrist, so I prefer that. You've got a 20 millimeter lug width, water resistant to 200 meters. You've got a screw down crown. And on this model, it's a signed crown. And the movement is a hand-wound Citizen caliber 82-03. I think the finish on this dial is amazing. And the finish on the bezel. I talk about this in my previous review of this watch. The back. This back, just take note because you're going to notice some differences on this versus the other, but it's almost a brushed stainless versus the polished that you're going to see on some of these other ones. Just to give you an idea, got kind of that brushed look on the back versus the polished. Very smooth bezel. Extremely solid. This isn't the bracelet that came on the watch. This one I ordered, I believe I got with a standard rubber band. The other two I got with the Citizen bracelet, but it's nothing to recommend. You're not going to be excited by either one, just like with the SKX. I put it on this Miltat Jubilee. I think it goes well with it. So I've got 6 1/4 inch wrist, just to give you an idea if you're entertaining one of these and you got small wrist. Now I also own the SKX 009 and the 007. I've sold them because I was wearing these a lot more and I just felt like, what's the point? The prices were up, so I sold them. So great looking watch. Again, this is the caliber 8203. It hand winds. You've got the crown at the 8 o'clock position. And this was originally developed for the Italian military, specifically the Navy. And that was one of their specifications. If you're wondering why is that there. So you just flip it around when you're setting time. It's nothing weird to get used to. I honestly feel like the crown screws in a lot better than it did on my SKX. When I would take the SKX crown out, it felt really wobbly, almost like a Vostok amphibian. If you've ever taken one of those crowns out, it just, and I think it was, to Seiko's credit, just the size of the crown made it a little more difficult to thread in versus how I feel about the Citizen. The finish on the bezel, I think, was a lot better than the SKX. The SKX almost has a smoother, rolled over, stamped versus this milled, machined look that you get on the Citizen. Just trying to get up close on that. I was really impressed with the dial on the Pepsi. I wear this one a lot, quite a bit. These are not brand new. I bought them, I don't know, a year or two ago, and they get pretty heavily worn. These are more of my beater watches. And accuracy, my Seiko was running probably 20, 22 seconds fast a day. I mean, I was resetting it by the end of the week. I don't really track these, but I don't find myself resetting them by the end of the week. So that's the Pepsi. The next one that I bought, or actually I think this was the first Citizen that I bought. This is the NY0040-17 blue dial. It's kind of hard to see that it's blue. I bought this one, it was about 4 years ago, and I couldn't really find the NY00s. It was a watch that I wanted, and I really was searching, and there was nobody online that had them. And this one came from Amazon, UK. And it came on this one did come on the rubber strap, now that I remember, because I paid $160 Amazon UK, and that was out the door shipping. I put it again on a Miltat Jubilee. It's actually got an Uncle Seiko clasp on it. If you can see that, there's his logo. So this one's been around the block. The difference is that there's not a signed crown versus the 0086. It's got like a dimple crown. So obviously this is an older version, so the crown looks different. It's still a hand windable movement. Same fit and finish, I feel. I don't see anything different other than, we'll get to the case back, does look a little bit different. Like I talked about, you have this polished case back, which scratches very easy. That's the only negative thing, but the SKX was the same way. And then you have this brushed stainless case back. I like the brush better. It's easier just to take some Scotch-Brite and go over it, polish it out. You can use some Cape Cod cloth on the back of these and on these polished ones and clean them up as well. But if I had my pick, I'd rather have the brushed stainless, but either way, it's not the end of the world. So those are two differences. I don't know why Citizen did that, but this is definitely one of the earlier versions. Still, timekeeping is about the same. I don't ever find myself resetting this by the end of the week. So, 10, 15 seconds fast probably. So I think it beats my SKX by far. Still same specifications. You've got the 42 millimeter diameter. You've got that 12 millimeter thickness. And you've got that 48 lug to lug, 20 millimeter lug dimension right here. So a lot of strap options for this. The other thing I'm going to show you right quick, since I have these two right here, is bezel play. They all have a little bit of a bezel bounce that you're gonna press down on this bezel. See how it moves a little bit? You'll see it's the same thing. This one doesn't have it as bad. It's nothing wrong with it. That's just how it is. The bezel's not gonna come flying off. It's commonly discussed, the bezel play. So that's the blue dial. So what's going to trip you out is this full lume, which is just, that's not the only thing that beats the SKX, but still same specifications for the most part. 42 millimeter, 12 millimeter thick. There's some more bezel play for you right quick. 48 millimeters lug to lug. 20 millimeter lug distance right here. Water resistance 200 meters, screw down crown, not signed, which adds to the interesting aspects to some of these watches. But what's crazy about this is the face, and I don't think you can see that. If you've got a big screen computer, you might see that. But the face says that it's an 8203 movement. But the back, you can see that it says 8204. Why is that important? Because this is where we're going to kill the SKX. Watch the second hand. All right, tell me this isn't better than SKX. And these are going for typically under 200. Full bracelet, you'll get them right over 200. But to get a hacking, hand-windable Citizen automatic diver with a lot of heritage. I think this has been in production since '96, the NY00 line. Now look at that. It's hacking. So when I initially bought this watch, I was confused. I knew it was hacking movement, but the more I investigated, Citizen was putting the 8204. They just had not changed the printing on the face from 8203. Now, if you go researching, you're going to see Caliber Corner, which is a website that lists all watch calibers. They're stating that the 8204 is out of production, but it's not. So when you're looking at these, the newer versions, double check the specifications. Some of the details are saying that they're hacking now. They were not saying that before. So you also got the hacking capability, hand winding. Now, you know, the full lume's a full lume. You can't beat it. But they also have green dial, Coke dial. They have the Pepsi. They even got titanium bodies. So just look at that and you're going to see if it is the hacking movement. So there's an added plus. I wish my other two did hack, but, you know, those were older iterations. But you tell me, you know, Seiko took off. They quit producing the SKX. Citizen's still making these. You can pick them up. I think right now the green dial is like $171 on Amazon. And you're going to pay $699 or $700 for a used SKX. So leave it in the comments. You tell me how the Seiko's better. You know, at least Citizen is still making these. And this movement's been around. They use it a lot. Very accurate. The watch has heritage. Italian military. It's been around. Different dial variations. So, you know, I'm kind of tired of Seiko. When they got rid of the SKX, I was pretty much done with them. For them trying to charge us more for these new Pepsi dials that I just think weren't worth it. You can go get this guy right here for 200 bucks. And then I put the most expensive milled Jubilee bracelet I could get on it because I had still money to blow given how cheap this is. So you tell me, leave some comments below, guys. I think this is going to spark some good debates for those Seiko people out there. And look, I've owned a ton of Seikos in my life. Nothing against them, but it boils down to value for money. Citizen's got them beat. And now I'm a Citizen fanboy. So try to convince me otherwise. Appreciate you tuning in. Leave your comments below.